It doesn't matter how many times we talk about immigration. There are plenty of people who are in a greater position of power to do something about it who just pretend you cannot discuss this whatsoever. Now, remember, for as long as I've talked about this, we don't talk about skin colour, we don't talk about culture, we don't talk about faith, we simply talk about the raw number of human beings. 30 years ago, this country had 18 million people. 30 years later, so from the mid-90s to now the mid-2020s, we've now got 27, almost 30 million. 30 years from now, we could be into the mid-40s. Does anyone believe that the current number of hospitals, schools, aged care centres, disability services, all the rest of it is up to snuff with our current number, let alone the number which is coming our way? But of course, to discuss this at all, the government has worked out what is pretty successful politics, but still, this is their line and nobody's allowed to question it.
People used to talk about being able to engage in dog whistle politics, and you give a message and only certain people would really hear what you were saying. It's not a dog whistle anymore. It's, it's a set of bagpipes coming over the hill.
This annoys me. It annoys me deeply because our concern is simply about the number of people competing for the number of services that currently exist. Right now, if there is a family that needs to find somewhere to rent, there are fewer places to rent than ever before, with more people looking for them than ever before, the cost of which goes up, up, up. Yet we keep being told nothing to see here. To discuss it is, well, the R word. Remember, at the National Press Club when we were being told that by the Human Rights Commissioner.
Racism. 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 Racism.
Like a metronome of the R word, right? Well, the reality is that there is a very significant number of Australians who can see this for what it is, who are not racists, who are not dog-whistling racists, who are not finding ways to talk about people who look different. No, it's just, again, about the number of people 30 years ago, 18, now 28, on our way towards the mid-40s. A federal budget that, despite the fact that we may even be able to add another 10, 15, 20 million people to the overall tax base, the federal budget would be in deficit until the 2060s. That's the reality of our country, is that we are whistling by the graveyard when it comes to our own future. And apparently to be concerned about the future somehow means you're either playing the race bagpipes or you just are the outright racist. Well, opinion poll dropped via James Campbell in the newspapers this weekend, Daily Telegraph, Sunday Herald Sun, or so should I say Sunday Telegraph, Sunday Herald Sun, the Sunday Mail, and immigration fears are now surging amongst Australians, One Nation doubling its support overall, matching in with what I just told you about the news poll. Now, in February of 2024, only 11% of people said that immigration was in their top three issues. Now, 22%, literally doubling. Now, 22% is not 50%, so we can all still say this is not a major issue for the majority of Australians, but for a significant number, it is. In fact, if you have a look at what the apparent key issues are, supposedly, the cost and standard of living still remains up there with almost 7 out of 10 people putting it in their top three issues. Housing and accommodation, 4 out of 10 people putting that in their top three issues. Crime and social order. So again, we keep being told, no, everything's fine in Victoria. These issues aren't anything worth talking about. Well, it's in the top three, above health. And then immigration cracks it into the top 5 there with 22%, above managing the economy, above climate change, above defence, above roads and transport, above education. Gives you an idea about how significant this issue is and why it needs to be discussed. Hence why in their poll, regardless of Labor still having the majority of support, both before and after preferences, 52% of people believe the country is headed in the wrong direction. 35% believe that the country is headed in the right direction, 13% are unsure. The asterisk on all of this, the people responsible for it are the Freshwater organisation, who, remember, are the ones who told us that the Libs were winning at the last election, as opposed to the reality of that massive scoreboard being racked up against them, one that continues to be growing against them.